So it's so good to have you here today.
So good to be here with you.
I'm trying to think back when I first met you, and I think it was about 3 years ago.
It was
Grand
walking
Valley.
through with hard hats on.
Oh,
Do you
right.
remember?
I do. And trying to envision what this could be
I know, it's amazing.
and this partnership. And it's only taken us 3 years. But I think we're onto something. I think we've matured enough and we have enough density here and understand kind of what Michigan Central is about to bring on a partner like you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about this, and I want to talk a little bit about like the higher education and how that's changing. Given that this is an innovation district, right? We're constantly trying to understand what's coming up, jobs of the future, and talk to me a little bit about how you see higher education changing to adapt to this type of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, let me say that 3 years is not our usual time frame. So I think it's really important that as we went down this journey together, we had multiple touch points and really have been very deliberate together about what we're going to do and how to make the most profound impact. So I'm really excited about that. And as I said to you coming in, we've been expanding our work in Detroit to kind of be ready. So I just feel like we can launch hitting the ground, which I'm super excited about. But it is a manifestation of where I think higher ed is going. I think that higher ed cannot create its own metrics for success anymore. It has to be shared and collective success in the communities we're in. And what that does is it really creates a deep relevance and a deep connection so that you understand, what is happening all around you. And like here, not only do you understand a community, multiple communities, but you also understand what youth need and you understand what's happening on the innovation, the next innovation in mobility or in tech. And you have your partner ecosystem all within one place. So to be immersed there, it's so easy to create collective success. I think higher ed's use the frame of an anchor. And what I like to think about is using the frame of a keystone in an ecosystem that's really catalyzing the ecosystem around it.
I love that. I think some of the things that we get a little ahead of ourselves, right? And we try to think about those jobs of the future. And so maybe the curriculum's not there yet, or we don't even know what that job looks like. Like Clorinda on our team did a worked with Charger Help to build a pipeline of technicians for charging infrastructure. That's been delayed a bit, but because the infrastructure is not coming along. But how do you see getting ready for those jobs of the future?
Yeah, it really is the agility to be in an innovation mindset. It really is because no matter what you teach, it's going to come in and out of date. If you think about it as a set of tools or subject matter discipline, if you think about it as a mindset, then the ability of the individual to adapt quickly. And, our friend Jim Hackett would always say, what's the ascending tech? So the way that you can also think about it is you can see what's ascending, even if it's a ways away, so that you can start to educate for those experiences.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. When you think about, I'm gonna dive a little bit into like when you think about AI, like how is that disrupting what you guys are doing?
People say it's a hype cycle. I don't buy that. I don't think it's a hype cycle. I think it's a huge transformation because it's your companion, it's your tool that helps you to just, whether it's to get the landscape of data far beyond and far quicker, or whether it is prompting you for what's next. It's just changing the way we work. It's changing our opportunity to be more effective. And I think, to be what we essentially are, which is human. Um, and so I am not at all threatened by AI. I'm embracing it 100%. I think it's a super exciting opportunity. Part of the research we want to do is to really understand where AI can advance learning, because what you hear a lot about is the concern that, our brains will go stale because the device is doing it for us. But I think there's a way to think about it's augmenting human capacity, and how do we like double down on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's touching everything that we're doing here and including our founders, right? They need to think differently about it. And one of the principles that we talk about is about responsible AI, responsibility with the advancing technologies. When you think about, folks who have graduated, well, first, you guys have a significant number of students that actually stay in Michigan, which I absolutely love, right? But now I got to get them to come and work together down here. And so when I think about what's for them is a lifelong learner, right? And how do they continue their learning, maybe down here in a place like this with us, with innovators? Thought about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I go back to mindset, because I think it's establishing a mindset that we all have to be lifelong learners, and we have to have a rhythm for that. I always say, like, when I wish I could go to the gym once and I'd be done for a year, but it just doesn't work that way. You got to go every week, you got to keep going, and we just have to make learning that way. And I think higher ed too often has sort of said, well, you get the degree and congratulations, and we launch you. It's just, that's not the paradigm. The paradigm is you got to keep learning. And I think if there's new energy around you all the time, you're just more apt to get that appetite to go with the mindset and keep learning. So I think environments are so critical to creating that. And one of the ways that Grand Valley has been successful at keeping students, graduates, alums in Michigan is that they get exposed to that through their education. It's not learning and then you go to work. It's learning integrated with work, integrated with projects.
And integrated with partners.
And integrated with partners.
And you have a strong partner 100%. Pipeline. And I think that's a natural transition to where we are in building this ecosystem, to be surrounded by all of those companies.
I think we established, one of the interesting things we've done over the last year is establish a College of Computing as a standalone. And one of the things I'm really excited about is that its mindset isn't to create computer scientists. That, of course, will be some of the work. But it is to be able to infuse computing, AI, big data in every single field, so that it's much more organic to begin to think about, how AI, back to your question, how do we think about the ethics of AI? How do we think about responsible use? When I've talked with Jim about how do you think about the way a design process changes? Back in the day, as we've done, these design sprints, you create a set of speculations, but they're finite. They're like, how many can you think of in your brain? The AI opportunity gives us like a whole field of speculation to draw from. So how does it change design? So even our degree is called human-centered computing rather than human-centered design. And so it's a different kind of College of Computing, and we're really excited to bring computing and engineering and some of the opportunities that are so synergistic with what you're doing here.
So there's we talked a lot about, in the very beginning, I think when we were thinking about Michigan Central, one of the things that our friend had said to us, and as others, is like, this is about human adaptation to technology. This is about getting people to understand technology, accepting technology, and learning about it so that they can accept it rather than reject it. So these aren't about computers replacing jobs. This is about advancing the skills of folks so that they can be ready for that next job. So when we think about adult education and bringing in those folks in, we want to make sure Michigan Central's mission is to make sure that it's accessible, this learning is accessible, that it's equitable. And so how do you think about that with the types of programs that we would be doing here?
Yeah, so first of all, we're starting with your youth floor and your youth programming, but we're also going to be a new lab. And we're bringing GVSU Omni, which is our initiative to upskill and reskill, so that people who have not, exactly the persona you're talking about, where maybe technology's not been in their everyday work, can become familiar and can get a certificate, a credential, a skill bundle that puts that to work for them so they can continue to grow. So it's going to be very holistic. We're going to be working with really all age groups ultimately, from our business partners, maybe with some applied research, to youth programming, to upskilling. So it's going to be really exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the program that you have where you're looking at elementary kids, high school students, and kind of that pathway to education. As I think about that journey and how do we prepare for the future, what does that graduate look like when they get done through all of your programs?
Yeah.
It's a lot. I know it is. But I think about that, right? Because I'm a systemic thinker.
No,
and so I try to
100%.
put all of that together.
First of all, I want to give Dr. Truss, our VP for Enrollment Development and College Futures, and I'm calling out that name, credit, because he's been just an absolute innovator in this space, because he rejects the notion that promise is not equally distributed. It's everywhere. And so our job is to create lots of scaffolding, lots of pathways, lots of opportunities, engage parents, like our 8th grade Pathways program, where, you know, they're admitted, they get scaffolding and support in order to be ready for college, and then they can come right into GVSU. And we've had our first class come in.
That's amazing.
And they have doubled their completion rates in high school.
Congratulations.
So it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's, so we don't have like one pathway, we have multiple pathways. We have 8th grade pathways. We have relationships with our charter schools. We have trio programs. We have a Rep 4 initiative that is helping students through design thinking skills think about designing their own life and what problem they want to work on before they get in college.
Amazing.
So it's like we're trying to create a sense of possibility, a mindset that includes confidence, and then the supports necessary, because they're not going to have all the pieces, to be sure we're setting them up for success.
And what's different? So that first class that just started, right?
Right.
Fast forward 4 years, they graduate. What's different about that individual or that graduate from the graduates today?
I can tell you one word, and that's they have agency. They come to understand that it's their power that's going to drive their career and their life, not just their career. These are going to be community citizens. They're going to be people, hopefully, with meaningful lives. But it's building a sense, there's some research that's been done since, I think, 1965, maybe 1962. And the line of young people feeling like everything in the world is outside their control has just gone up and up and up and up. And the line feeling that they have control of their surroundings gone down, 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 down. And, it's logical, right? I mean, think of, the sort of political morass today. Think of the pandemic. I mean, these are things that just
happen to you.
Yeah. And so what our education does is it creates a sense of agency, which is back to your lifelong learning, because they know what they need to be thinking about or where to find it in order to be building their what's next.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What haven't I asked you?
You are so good. You can do my higher ed interviews anytime. I can't wait. I just want to thank you, because you have been patient. Mary Culler has been incredibly patient. You have come to know Grand Valley. You spent a day on our campus, and right away you got it. You said, I know that you can make an impact here.
Yeah.
It may not, to the people listening, all seem like a university from the west side of the state is going to make an impact, but over 45% of our students are from right here.
Yeah. It's intentional. It's intentional that we're together today. It's intentional that this has come to this type of program. And so I'm excited about what we can do together for us, for the city, and for the state. So thank you.
Thank you.